All right, folks. Hey, happy Friday. Good morning, and great to see all of our students and members back inside our live trading room. September 12th, like I said, shortly after 9 o'clock. Great to have all of us back here. So let's see. We got Bill, Leda, Margaret, Michael, got Richard, who I'm actually seeing in person next week. Looking forward to that, Rich. Great to see you, Nabil, Kathleen, Dave. Got about 97 of us here live inside our room. Then if you're joining us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., subscribe right down below to our YouTube account and actually our X as well. Both are labeled the same. Right down below at Cyber Trading U, hit the follow or subscribe button right there. You'll get Fausto's pretty face Monday morning, I believe. You got my ugly mug for right now. No, but seriously, Fausto is at the Money Show in Toronto. So last call for that, actually. I know that Rich posted that inside our trading room just a moment ago. Join Fausto at the Money Show. You could actually register. And, for the event, you don't need to be there. You can catch the recordings of everything at least afterwards as well. So actually, I believe it is starting in just about 2 hours, 57 minutes, and about 21 seconds. How about that? So again, click that link if you're a student. You could actually just attend live, watch the event at least over the internet there. But hey, we've had a pretty interesting week up until this point, and something tells me it's not really going to stop, right? We're coming off the summer. We're not in the summer now at this point. It's actually supposed to be like 68 degrees down here in Southwest Florida over this weekend. I have no idea what the hell's going on. Normally that's like late December, early January weather down here, if anything. So if it's cold out by you, if it's starting to approach that fall weather, I think that you'll still appreciate it right now, kind of early on heading into the late summer. But listen, I mean, this is a good time to just stick around and trade the market open with us here. And then maybe by the close today, who knows? There might be some unusual options activity out there to work with. But, we've had a great, week. And yesterday, even though, obviously a very, emotional day, September 11th, we put our hard hats on. We looked forward and we said, hey, let's trade the market here for us. And we did pretty well across the board. So let's go over a couple of the trades of the day from yesterday, Thursday. And then we'll scan across our list here for the open. So no pun intended with open, quite literally, OPEN open, new CEO kicked in, ended up making this huge breakout. After the market opened up, this thing was up big going into the morning yesterday. Right here, this was the after hours pop right around 5:30 from Wednesday afternoon, and then just only continued to move up. So this is where we just say the trend is your friend. Don't try and be the hero. Don't try and be counter trend trader. Martin Shkreli, Farmer Bro, has been doing that for a little bit. He's been getting waxed out there on the short. So, going into the open today, the market open, easily enough, just going to put this trade back on our watch list here. Open. All right, cool. All right, let's go right back to our watch list from yesterday. We'll recap the others like we said. So Tesla, TSLA, another one that did phenomenal. Another one also you don't really want to go counter trend on. The only thing with this trade, and Fausto has been steering the ship on this pretty much himself. From time to time, both of us will be in trades together, but this has always been Fausto's pet project. I'll day trade Tesla here and there, but he was in it going into the election. He was going into it, into the summertime. So he owns a lot of shares. I know on Tesla, on TSLL, which is the ETF, on the dividend one, TSYY, I think that one is. But yesterday, this thing finally starting to break out of this wedge, about 4 or 5 month long wedge here at the time. Higher lows. It's essentially a Fausto flag, you can call it. It held the tops okay, little shakes here and there, but higher lows, kept pinning up against resistance. And then yesterday, it finally paid off. So huge reaction on the Tesla trade, 350 up to 370, 20-point move yesterday, and obviously looking to be more going into the open today. Still just building out higher lows. So have no problem just adding the Tesla trade, TSLL, the dividend one. Just want to mention this here. Yeah, TSYY. I didn't even know that. So yeah, TSLY and then TSYY. These are high yield dividend paying ETFs that you hold on to over time just for the dividend month to month. But these, though, are not really trades that go with the equity. Tesla equity, this is like the ETF that we will day trade much more often than anything. This is TSLL, so that's a little different. But check out TSLY. This thing's been dropping off quite a bit over time. And the same thing with this one here, TSYY. It's because they have to pay out a dividend. So it's going to affect the spot price of the ETF at least. I know this myself because I got waxed on BITO. I tried to compare BITO and ETF here. to basically Bitcoin. This was before IBIT became accessible, actually. This is before IBIT. But point being is that BITO clearly is not making the same move as Bitcoin, right? It's because they pay a dividend. And at the end of each month going into the beginning of the next, it drops about 8 to 10%. So you learn the hard way sometimes, don't you? But, this is the thing, though. This is such a high yield that it's worth it for basically a month. Hold on to it for a month. The TSYY, the TSLY, or the other, equities that offer this type of, ETF for it. But, otherwise, that's my 2 cents. Fausto obviously agrees, but he knows much more on this stuff. He's made some videos on these high yield ETFs on our YouTube account, on our Instagram account. So definitely take a point to check those too. But let's go back from the trades from yesterday. This was my pet project yesterday, the HIMS. This was as beautiful of an entry as I could ever ask for. And, listen, it didn't make the perfect move I wanted. I ended up getting out right at 49.69, 49.70 on this trade as it shook back down a bit here. Money's money. I was happy to make it, but then from there, the re-entry was right over 50. I ended up jumping in as it was pulling back. It broke out a little bit here, kept pulling back, test, and then from there, led to a higher high. This was just a beautiful trade going into the close. Ended up getting out on this right around 52.34, and then the last portion of it right here. Dumped off going into the close. But, hey, another stock from yesterday, it's still kind of holding here. Do I want to put this on our watch list? I do. I just think that the Tesla trade looks even better today, so far. So I'm going to have to cherry pick, find the best looking ones right now, build up our watch list in a bit. But, with how much, with how much it had moved yesterday, there still seems to be a lot of stocks holding near the highs or moving up higher. So let's talk about the Warner Brothers Discovery deal. I think that Paramount is set to buy them. And this is pretty interesting because normally when one company buys out another, you typically see that stock tank. Like if P Sky buys out Warner Brothers is the one that should pop or run up or gap up, whatever. This should tank. And it goes to show that the street loves this stock. Or if they don't just love it, then maybe yesterday was just like a meme stock day and everything moved up that had a meme to it. Open, the GameStop trade popped a little bit yesterday. Even the Figma stock, which has been in the dumps for a while, that actually was green yesterday. That was a nice move. So it could have just been a case of that. But going back to the Warner Brothers and the P Sky, at least here for today, I actually don't mind putting P Sky on our watch list here, just because I feel like it held so well for right now. Why not? And then the WBD, I know it's up 7.5%. If this is the one getting bought out, I just feel eventually it's going to have to flatten out or just slow down, not really offer as much. So, we'll add P Sky for the moment. All right. Sometimes don't know what to do with my hands there. Hold on to the cup of water. Yeah, figure it out. But P Sky, add that to our watch list, at least for right now. What else we got? We got a bunch more. WLDS, come on down. Your turn here. So, this one from earlier in the week, back on Wednesday, that popped, made a big move. Most, if not all of these stocks are just going to fall off same day. And if it's not the same day, it's the next. What made this impressive is that this didn't really fall off. Just kind of held higher lows, even on this brutal drop here, recovered. Even today, pre-market, holding higher lows from previous. So I'm going to have to put this back on our watch list here, the WLDS trade, in hopes of this making the ultimate breakout here. But this is just some low float, no name stocks. So looks like it tried to do that early on this morning, right over 1085, 1084 line there. Highs back from Wednesday. There's a chance it tries to revisit those highs today. If it blasts above, it gets halted on the way up. That would be incredible. Would love to have that. So, all right. What else we got? Jesus, we're still going through the picks from yesterday. Oh my God. VNCE, keep it going. This one's not as good. This one's a little bit of a loser stock here. Kind of pop drop. That was it. Not really much to that. All right, you know what? We'll kind of pass on the rest of those, at least for right now. We got through the best from yesterday, from Thursday. We'll probably find more, but honestly, let's just run through our gainers and losers list here right now, see what we could build up. GCTK. I feel like we've traded this stock before. Yeah, we've traded the stock before. And you could tell because these giant volume bars here, it was days in pre-market, at least early in the morning, where it ran up. It opened up at 14 plus and then just tanked. Then on this day, the same exact thing happened. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen today. This thing's up 127% today. I wonder. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, also shame on you, right? Fool me three times, maybe shame on me. All right, we'll edit. It's kind of the logic right behind it there, right? No, seriously, I mean, it's trending up well today. I mean, if it dumps right out the gate in the first 5 minutes, you know what the deal is. So we'll pass on it then. But AGA Allied Gaming was a winner, and then it became a giant loser. And it wouldn't shock me if it becomes a loser again after the Open, just continuing this trend down that we had for the last 6 months. So I'm hopeful it could pop. I'll add it to our list just for starters, but just focus on the long-term trend more than anything. All these stocks that go up at 100%, 500, 1,000%, we don't know them. We don't know them, at all. So they got to gain our trust. And more often than not, those stocks don't go up that 1,000%, do they? They go up like 500%, and they don't often go up 500%. They go up 100%. I think you catch my drift. So you don't want to keep getting greedy and looking for that next big wave when it doesn't offer it to you. COCP, we've been familiar. We've known the stock for a long time, right? Not a good time, but a long time. Definitely not a good time because this thing has just been a loser over the course of the year. So over the last 7 years, 8 years. So nice pop. There's the drop. It's got a good book. So I like the fact that on level 3 here, you have a tight spread. You got good order size out there. So for now, for our day trading watch list specifically, I'll add it. Doesn't hurt to add it for right now. Again, the first 5 minutes will tell the story here for a lot of these trades. HCWB, same deal. Same deal. We've been through this song and dance before. So we'll add it, but obviously the second it dumps, we want to move on. It's a Friday. So that's where, hey, we're hopeful for things to be pretty exciting across the board. We'll eventually find a runner that's going to make that perfect move for us. I mean, Open was incredible yesterday, Tesla as well. So, we're going to find plenty of trades, but once these stocks dry up, you got to remember it's like the weekend. People are still trying to enjoy their time, and whether it be in the sun or whether it be in the kind of brisk, fall weather, at least wherever you are. Appreciate that sweater weather. Maybe it is that by you right now. B-hat, pop, drop, not too surprised. Again, same deal. Been through this plenty of times with you, B-hat. Been through this plenty of times with you before. So I'll add it. It's not even up as much now compared to the others. So honestly, I don't really feel as confident about that. But all these are losers otherwise. This Air E actually still kind of sticking around. This was from yesterday, actually. Nice little move yesterday. Cheap stock, pushed up over $1. Didn't really focus too much on it, but we had called it out, made it like a 20, 30-cent pop, 30% move if you're thinking just off that dollar level. Going into the Open today, I'll make a little room for this one at least. Cheap stock, good order size out there, resistance off 150 pretty much. All right, there's the WLDS. Here's a stock I do like. I like this thing today, BBAI. And if you're thinking like, oh, that's kind of a familiar name. Well, again, we've traded BBAI before. It did dump back down, but the thing with this company is it has not like a high float, but it's higher than these like no-name pharmaceuticals, GCTK, AGAE, blah, 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 blah. 366 million shares in the float. So that's actually pretty decent. I attempted a swing trade on this like last week. I've been waiting on it. It finally pulled back down to a level I liked. Thing was so damn slow, and there's just other trades that we're making more money on the Soon, on the Hims, on Jobby, on. I'll tell you a loser that I took at least earlier this week as well. The PRTS, I took a 4-cent loss on this just from yesterday or from 2 days ago. I got out on this, but point being is that they're not all going to be winners, but you want them to at least make that good reaction right away. So for the BBAI, it took a long time for this to just kind of mellow out here, then finally pop today. I tried checking Benzinga Pro. I didn't really see any news out on the BBAI. So if anyone has any news for BBAI, like actual news that came out overnight just now this morning, let me know. But I like it. We're going to put it back on our watch list. You don't need to swing trade it. I'm just going to day trade it on larger size now. So why not? So at least I know my limits. I'm not going to just hold this recklessly and just try and day trade it going into the cyber clock. Reversal time. That's all. All right, let's hop over to the losers list here. We gotta definitely filter this out. Moment. Here we go. All right, so SMCI. Actually, wait a second. I didn't really go over SMCI, did I? This is actually on the gainer side here, and I see the ETF, the inverse ETF for SMCI right here. I was like, oh shit, I forgot to go over SMCI. So SMCI, I think, got a deal with NVIDIA for their Blackwell GPU units. So, just to mention, that's going to be a pretty big headline and already has been for the past like 5 months, right? A lot of companies now coming out with news of like, yeah, we've bought X number of Blackwell GPU units. That's going to produce a lot more for the company, which turns into revenue. So SMCI here, nice reaction already. I got to add this SMCI, absolutely. Getting back to the losers list though, this is the ETF. We're not going to add this per se. I just saw this. I'm like, oh shoot. All right, so let's keep going though. Naka, NAKA. This was from Wednesday. Wednesday runner, Thursday dumper, and that was it. So, yeah, game over on this one. Game over on all those pump and dump trades just from earlier this week. And that's kind of it. There's really not much else that looks really good at all. RH is down a lot today. It was down a lot more overnight and kind of slung back up a bit. That's all. Open, we have this on our watch list already. Almost knocked my coffee over. All right, folks, let me know if there's anything else looking good that you'd want me to check out here. Roseanne, Bill, Lynn, and Randy, Sam, all of us just here. Let me know. Go from top to bottom at least, right? Let's see. Just make sure I read all the comments here. From Genevieve saying, oh, that was in relation to Grant. Just a couple of comments and just conversations going on there just in our room. Bill saying talk is a peace guy. Next target is TikTok. Nah, I don't think that's happening. If they buy out Warner Brothers, no way that's going to happen. I know that Peace Guy does have a lot of cash. I looked into that. But TikTok is the largest private company, I believe, in the world. ByteDance is technically the parent company. So what, you think that they're going to sell off TikTok? ByteDance alone is worth like X number of billion. So how much of that is really TikTok? So that would be the question that plays into it, Bill. Interesting thought. And don't get me wrong, it's an interesting thought. I just feel like I've heard that that company is so big. I don't know who's going to be able to buy it out. You know what I mean? No, I agree. Absolutely. I agree in the sense that David and Larry Ellison have lots of money. I mean, Larry Ellison just clocked his way into the richest man, number one richest man, right? So surpassed Elon recently. You never know, right? Just it was like the first thought in my head. I'm like, oh my god, that TikTok company is worth so much money. It's insane. Wolf going up, yeah, actually going up a lot now. Not from the beginning of this meeting, but actually right now. There's like a weird gap I could try and refill. Interesting play. Who'd call that out there? Carlos. Cool. I like that one. Add the Wolf trade. Good shout for right now, especially more off this pop at 2. The bid farm, did I just kind of brush over that briefly? It's not doing as much right now. It's up 6%. So it's been a great swing trade there, Anna. If you're in right now, I'm rooting you on. And this is like a safe, like category 1 stock, like 100%. So. All right, let's see. MMA swing, yeah. I hope it goes up. I hope it goes up. But this thing, I mean, definitely saying to be careful on in terms of just hoping for the bounce. Looks like it had a good move in the afternoon yesterday, so I'm rooting you on as always. Jobby, yeah, Jobby here. So I forgot to go over Jobby at least in this meeting. We were calling out Jobby all this morning in pre-market, folks. If you were with us, Rich was on it at first, shortly after 8 o'clock. And then I was just kind of bringing up the historical levels to you there in the chat. 1410, 1442, both are historical prices to keep an eye on. I actually have this one already kind of staged and set, this area. And then otherwise 1440-ish, kind of just slap a couple of those lines. So I'm looking for support to develop at one of these two. Yesterday, I wanted it to be off the 1410. Just took a loss at first going into the late morning. But otherwise, if it could build back off of either of these prices, I'll try and be more safe than sorry here. But the news that came out yesterday was pretty interesting. The only thought is that there's like no revenue yet as far as the air taxis and all of that so far, at least for Jobby. So it was a huge deal that came out yesterday, and obviously now getting a pretty good reaction. So I'd love to see if there's more to it from here. Here's what I'm showing you on the long term. This wick here is what I'm focused on for 1440-ish. It was running up so well, so I'd be interested in seeing if this can contain this support, especially today. 1410-ish was right over here, though. Pretty good support back from the end of August. So I'm just thinking one of those two should look to hold today and then run higher. But yeah, I'll re-add the Jobby. Good shout there. Deborah, nice job. I saw you traded a couple of those earlier today too. All right, folks, real quick on YouTube, let me know if you got anything from me there as well. Uma, great to have you there as always. Good afternoon, good evening to you, perhaps, from Turkey. AGTL, yeah, not much going on there. You got to have volume. You got to have volume. Got to have trends. So, a little spotty of a graph there. I don't know if there's like a move to it on the long-term graph that you know of, but otherwise, it needs just momentum, needs some sort of activity on the intraday graph. Warren, great to have you here. One of our students just joining us on the YouTubes this morning. TSLY working for him. Excellent. Very nice, Warren. All right. Then last call, we'll check out Benzinga Pro. It's already 9:22. Shoot, I talk too much. Fausto keeps this simple for you. ELBM, this thing's popping right now. That's a nice pop right there. So I don't mind adding that to our list just at the end. And then MPU is definitely starting to go back up and prove itself to us. SBET's kind of garbage right now. Rigetti, kind of, not really doing too much. Kind of a lightning round here, folks. Just give me a quick moment. UOKA. Nope. All right, so we actually just scrapped up two last ones here for us. We'll see if there's more to this ELBM, but I guess just popping right now. And then MPU, ELBM, then MPU. All right, perfect. Hey, real quick, if you're inside our live trading room, answer this for me at least before the market opens up. Go over to the general discussion tab inside our live trading room. Just click the tab over where it says general discussion right above the chat box and all that stuff. Let me know what you're doing for this weekend, what you got going on for this weekend, doing anything nice, exciting, otherwise relaxing for yourself or for family. Let me know. And then if you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, etc., hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday for you. But if you wanted to join us, just make sure to hit the follow and subscribe button right down below at CyberTradingU. That's our handle on YouTube and on X. But otherwise, if you wanted to join us just inside our room, go right down to the scrolling banner below in blue. A lot of alliteration is always there. What is this? A public safety alert. That's not good on my phone. Thank God I didn't get the noise alert there. Holy shit, that would have been loud. But no, point being though is to say that scan the QR code with your phone, with your camera, join us for our next live workshop, or otherwise join us just directly inside our live trading room. We look forward to having you there. But hey, we'll be back for you at least later on today. Next broadcast for you will be at 2:30. And then otherwise we'll talk to our students in just a bit coming up for the opening bell.